And there are people that are willing to work even smaller audiences if it means hooking up with WWE. Enter in Ricky Starks.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
This is what I was going to quickly get to before, because a lot of times in wrestling, things are heavily implied but not stated. We knew CM Punk was coming back the night at, Rampage. We knew things like that. We knew Penta was going to debut. Oh, go get me the best luchador. Like Michael Cole said, the worst kept secret in all of wrestling.
Yep.
And they're doing that a lot lately. So we knew Starks was coming, but we didn't know specifically when. We knew it was going to happen.
It's such a statement, though. And I'm not even saying this as a dig necessarily, right? But we heard the story constantly. Even if I like What Culture, but they lean heavily towards AEW. Let's be real for a second. When the story for over a year has been Ricky Starks just wants to leave. Why won't they just let him leave?
Yeah,
Ricky
he's
Starks
asked nicely.
Ricky Starks is not being used on television. He's not medically in any kind of situation where he shouldn't be wrestling. He's not being allowed to wrestle anywhere else. When are they just going to say enough is enough and let him go? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this?
Yep, they got to punish him, right?
It's okay, because there's two sides to this as well. It's funny that the day the news of his release comes up, less than 24 hours later, he shows up on NXT, right?
Yes.
But him along with Black and Miro, they're going to be sort of clumped together in this conversation. Is it one last act of pettiness by Tony Khan that he does it the day after the Royal Rumble?
It kind of feels like it in a way.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I know, because he had no reason to terminate and discontinue whatever, call it done for their contracts this past Monday. Yeah. So to have it specifically be after the Rumble, because he knew Malachi Black or Miro, maybe one of the two of them, even if they had Starks earmarked for NXT and he didn't, he still could have been in the Rumble and gone to NXT.
Yep. Because NXT, I don't think we're at a point now where NXT had some cameos in the Rumble. No, NXT just participates as much as Raw and SmackDown does.
Exactly.
Which I think is an awesome place to be, right? But maybe the problem is going to be, out of the three of them, you say Ricky Starks, and I think immediately NXT. You say Aleister Black, I don't know why, but I think immediately his return happens on SmackDown. Couldn't tell you why. You say Miro, I don't know where I would put Miro or what I would do with Miro in WWE. And that's not anything against him, it's just I can't place him unless you want to put him in there with the big guys like Otis and Ivar and Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman and.
Well, how do you feel that they let Miro go on Rusev Day? I mean, I would be upset. It's like I wouldn't know
Fantastic.
how to handle it.
Well, he's not going to have Aiden English to do his Rusev Day thing because Matthew Raywald's over in TNA. Actually, I guess that's not technically true.
I was just going to say, but
should say Josh Matthews and Christy Hemme have apparently just recently left TNA, so our best wishes are with them. But
I would want to see that introduction every week. But if they did bring him over from Impact to just be like the night Miro's going to debut, and all of a sudden he walks out holding the mic and Rusev, come on, that would be.
I wouldn't honestly.
Bring him back.
And this is where it's because it's seen as less and less and less of a step down these days. I wouldn't mind Miro doing a run in TNA. Or Rusev or whatever he wants to go by. I think that could be a lot of fun because you got the big guys down there like Jake something and Hammerstone and big meaty men slapping man meat. Have Big E come down and do commentary on it or something.
You can see with the management too. In WWE, it's evidently obvious. No, we're not there, but you can see how drastically things have changed just by sending the Legends Christmas cards this year, even though they're being unsigned.
Demolition finally has their Legends contract.
Yes. That's amazing for them. And a lot of these legends, they're saying, like, oh, they're not just bringing us out on, WrestleMania weekend once every couple of years to wave. They're having us be involved with the students. They're having us go to the community events. They're having us at the live shows. Like, they're making the legends matter. These are the guys you used to cheer, helping the guys you want to cheer.
But they're also not using them in a sense of, oh, we're having an anniversary show, come out and wave and make our show better. They're like, no, come on out for a second and let us appreciate you.
Exactly, and that's the difference. So I see it quite often in WWE now with the management changing. And if they had Starks earmarked for NXT, that's all well and good, but they had enough faith in him as a person to not give him a name, to not give him music, Nothing, no grand gesture. He literally emerged through the crowd with a microphone in hand.
I was going to say, because you and I don't always watch NXT in sync, and I try not to do the spoiler thing.
Yeah,
no offense to other people. But straight up, like, they're in the middle of running down the card for Sunday, and it gets cut off by somebody saying, "This just feels right." And then he cuts that, like, 5-10 second promo.
And the crowd.
What are you thinking immediately?
Nuts! Oh, right away I was just taken back. I was like, "Hot damn, this is perfect. This feels right." And then he goes into it about the Revolution being televised, and he's just
absolute. And he does the what do you call the? It almost looks like he's about to do like a Booker T thing, but where he
the
looks
head
at his
gesture.
hand.
I love it.
I don't know what it's called. Somebody mentioned it a couple of days ago, and I don't remember it for the life of me. I think it's good because, also, I like Ricky Starks. I like that he's not being fucked with anymore. I like that he happened to come over to our side of things, but, like, let him leave AEW and go to the Indies, even.
I really enjoyed Starks on the Indies. I really enjoyed Starks being on NWA for a while.
Yep.
And then when they got him in AEW, I was super excited. And then they put him with Team Taz, and I'm like, all right, he's going to be a heel. He's got to kind of learn the ropes. He's still young. And then they just...
They did the thing with him and Big Bill, and he said, "No, I don't want to do a typical like tag team split up thing."
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing as well. Is it's a conversation we've had before about NXT. Oh my God, why do they need training? Why would they go to NXT? Because maybe they can help other people, right? Broader statement. What did we say at the end of last year? Women's division in NXT is kicking ass right now. The men's division's kind of treading water. That could be okay. You can have a female-led show.
I doubt that Aleister Black, Malachi Black, whoever is coming in
to NXT,
but I would love it for a brief period of time if he did. If he came back and they brought him on NXT for a little bit, I think that would be surreal, especially the way they've been bringing people back recently since Vince has been gone. You know, we saw Becky, we saw Charlotte, we've seen Natalya come back, we've seen Bayley recently. You know, it's like I'm naming all females, but we've seen some of the men come back down too. We saw Baron Corbin, you know, so. Yep. We've seen.
You know what I've said, honestly, for Aleister Black?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would want it right away, but we know WWE just got rid of Paul Ellering, AOP, and all that kind of thing. Eventually, if we had a feud that then turned into a partnership, you know, kind of like a Sheamus Cesaro type thing, but like a goth version of that. If you had Aleister Black and Karrion Kross as a tag team managed by Scarlett.
Yeah. Could be great. Could be
fantastic. Why is my phone beeping at me?
And here's the thing. Now, I want to touch back on AOP quick before we get into anything else. But first, Aleister Black has been hinted at many times, too, because you have, and it could be nothing, but I'm sorry, with the Michael Cole, could it be type of scenario, my God, it is. It seems so obvious. So, Black and Zelina Vega, they own a gym, a pro wrestling school in Muay Thai gym.
Yeah.
And Chad Gable said that he's going to
master... That's the other thing I meant to mention as well. On the practical level, they just moved Zelina Vega to SmackDown.
They moved her to SmackDown. They went ahead and they changed things up a little bit. Chad's going to SmackDown. He's going to look for the dark arts of Lucha Libre, all that stuff. What's their wrestling school called?
I don't know.
The Dark Arts.
Oh.
I mean, Chad Gable keeps saying, I'm going to go master the dark arts of Lucha Libre, and he's going to the school called the Dark Arts, earned by Alex. Like, that's got to be it, because everything Triple H has done has been like overtly obvious. It's like a wink and a nod.
Sorry.
Get it.
This is the first time. This is the first time this has ever happened on a podcast. I have to cut in with a promo of my own.
Ooh.
You guys have all heard me say Destiny Wrestling. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. They have their Icons show, which is basically like their big, like, once-a-year show. It's Icons 4.
Their Mania, yeah.
Their first two talents announced for the show are TJP and Baron Corbin.
Oh, shit. That's going to be
not fighting
massive.
Each other, and TJP looks goth as shit in this picture. But yeah, shout out to Destiny. April 6th, if you're in the GTA, and you haven't checked out Destiny before, you should do it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And anyways, it's the third one, right?
Yeah. 4.
4. Okay, 4.
4. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Ricky Starks, NXT is going to be awesome. I'm picturing Aleister Black as early as Friday.
Yeah, having the dark arts of Lucha Libre, like, that's really cool heading in there. But what I like is that All right. What do we see here? What do we get? A lot of people that have returned also still have their name. They still have the character that they left WWE with, and instead of, all right, we had Drew Galloway comes back, he's Drew McIntyre, but still it was the version of him that changed. And we've gotten Shawn Spears even more recently, and amongst a few others.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's going to come in as Malachi Black. I wonder if it's going to be Miro instead of Rusev, and there's something to be said for that.
I don't think so with Alistair, and I can't put my finger on why, but it's not like a Cody Rhodes situation where Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes no matter where he
no matter what
went. Shawn Spears coming back as Shawn Spears instead of Ty Dillinger, I think they just kind of slip it under the rug because it's NXT. I don't think they debut a quote-unquote AEW character on one of the big two shows.
Yeah,
I could be totally wrong, but it's fine. But also, Aleister Black has more of a history with NXT and on the main roster before he got let go than Ty Dillinger did, because Ty Dillinger was the guy with the weird jacket and the 10 sign.
Yes.
Aleister Black had a little bit more. I mean, stuff that was good and stuff that Vince kind of mucked around with a little too much. I think they could call back to that a little bit more. But yeah, at some point, like you've gone with the Chad Gable thing. I don't see it. I think with them leaning on the Lucha stuff, they got Dragon Lee in there now. They've got Penta there now. They've got Ray. Axiom is a different kind of luchador. I think they were trying to do something with, what was it, like AAA or CMLL or some kind of other crossover. I think it's going to be another luchador that's going to come in. I don't see that being Aleister Black. If I'm wrong, I'll put my hands up and be wrong. Obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's just an interesting thing to see how
I just think
him and
Karrion Kross is the definite, like, Aleister Black comes back, he's not necessarily the Undertaker character, because you can't be the other Undertaker. That conversation kind of has to go in the bin a little bit.
Yes.
But he can be like that guy, like that goth, rock, alternative, whatever you want to call it, guy coming back, and this is what I am, and Karrion Kross is like, yeah, well, we already got one of those. Hi.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm a little...
a natural clash. But
yeah.
Like a clash that, when we talk about like really
big guys. It's a cult
of
personality, my friend. It really,
yes. But when like you get two really big guys, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, like say Braun Strowman and the Big Show, right? And
yes.
they can beat each other up in a way that you can tell both of them are having fun doing it. I could see a version of that with these two. And it's like, if we're this good beating the shit out of each other, look what we could do to everybody else. And then they look around to, like, I don't know, Los Garzas and DIY, and like we could kill them. It's fine. We've got a hot manager. It's fine.
Yeah,
I think it would be good. I don't think they're going to do it. I just think it's
I don't think so either, but that would be fun. I would be excited for that. And here's the thing. So I mentioned before, I wanted to briefly touch back on AOP. They returned. They did nothing. Sadly, and now they disappeared. Final Testament is not a bad idea, but I never took to the members. Like, I didn't understand the AOP connection. Like, hey, you need some muscle, sure, but he doesn't need a group, especially not at this point. I had an inkling that AOP was going to be taken off, because every time they've had Cross on our screens, it's with the group, it's with Final Testament. And then the past few weeks before them being let go, it's just Cross talking to Sami Zayn, it's one-on-one, and typically before, even when it was just a one-on-one character conversation, like with The Miz or something, they still had all of Final Testament there.
I was going to say, like, he's good when he has one person to bounce off of, and The Miz was the least likely example of that to actually work.
And it was great.
So if you instead, like, think of it as, oh, I'm an evil guy, what do I do for fun? I beat the shit out of people. Can you imagine the two of them sitting in the back in Alistair's, like, pick a fight with me room, and just the two of them going through the roster saying, who do we want to pick a fight with? Like, you could play around a lot with that. I really could.
I really feel like AOP was earmarked to be gone a while ago, and they just kind of waited. And
they were brought in to be like the big guy team, right? I hate to use an obvious comparison, but they were brought in to be like an LOD type of, where everybody else is smaller and more athletic and high flying and all that, and you got these two big bruisers that are going to swat you out of the air. Well, that's fine, but we've got the Creeds, we've got the Viking Raiders, we've got the rumored team eventually of Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu. So you need to be that and more if you want a spot on the roster.
Exactly. And so now I really feel like with Karrion Kross not having the group, but you've seen them recently paying attention to him, I think he's going to be a big focal point coming up. I think Triple H has plans with him, and we're finally going to see more. Like, he's starting to really, like, he's there to help you, unless you're not, that kind of thing. And it's like...
I'm here to help you if helping you helps me.
And before we get into Vintage Day,
doesn't that lend to them being an awesome tag team of like
exactly
if both of them come to the same mentality of I'll help you if it helps me, does that not scream tag team titles?
Absolutely, and that's the thing where you could get so much out of, and it's not the creepy spooky guys. No, there's more to it, and that's
they're just kick-ass guys that have maybe decent music for once. I don't know who owns the House of Black music, but clearly they're not using it anymore in AEW. So
no.
Jordan Grace brought her music over to WWE because she owns it.
That was Men. No, what was it? Menra Ugentrust.
You're gonna summon somebody.
Yeah, I believe the name of the band is Amenra, Amenra, and they're
no
a Norwegian death metal band.
Okay, cool.
So the name of the song is Ogentrust that he uses. Yeah. It's like a 9 or 8 minutes, 10-minute song. It's a great goddamn. I really love the whole like long version of it. But the whole point of the song is that it's like about a medication that you use the name of the song to treat like an eye issue or whatever. So
and then they did all the eye stuff.
And it went along. He was very intentional in what he picked.
Total tangent for a second. I'm sorry. Out of everybody in AEW and WWE, do you know who I think has probably the best entrance right now?
Yeah.
Julia Hart.
Ooh. I didn't pick that in my mind at all whatsoever.
Because you know how like all the members of the House of Black kind of have variations of music?
Yes.
Her music, when it's just her and she basically I hate to say it once again, but she comes out like Chick Undertaker, and she's got that really like heavy melodic whatever it is.
Yes.
Her entrance is awesome, and she's managing to pull that off in AEW. Imagine if they bring her over. And Alistair calls her up and says, hey, come on over, the water's fine.
Yeah, the fans like the spooky bitch. They chanted, and it worked for her.
Oh my God, Julia Hart versus Alexa Bliss.
There's so many good moments there, and think about it too. Like we said, with Starks coming in, no music, no name. They didn't even. It was just, oh my God, he's here, kind of an idea.
Is it me, right? Because they'll fast track Ricky Starks into the title picture soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Is it me? But immediately when he showed up on NXT, the first match I had in mind was him and Wesley.
Me too. God damn. I really thought that those two were that's a showcase match to show what Starks can do, and especially with Wes being a heel right now and the way he's been working in the ring, and you got the follow to the outside. Oh, there's so much you can add to that. I like back in the day, Vince he would take chances. Obviously, that's what I'm saying, but he wouldn't do things that were gonna possibly fuck him. He wouldn't put somebody on TV without having an ironclad contract and without having, everything in writing and deals because he got tired of getting screwed. As where this is apparently just a sync agreement. So according to PW Insider Elite, they're saying that Ricky Starks is fast-tracked to have his name be Ricky Starks. So apparently, according to internal memos, he's still listed under the name Ricky Starks, besides the company not referring to him at his debut.
Except, I don't know whether it was a botch or not, but somebody put these up side by side.
Yes.
NXT, for me, obviously Netflix, because I don't live in the States, right? Yes. NXT in the States, for you guys, is still on the CW, right?
Yes.
2 separate video clips went out of his debut on NXT. One was on the WWE YouTube channel, and I think it was something vague. It was like, oh my God, the blockbuster debut that you missed on NXT, right?
Yes.
On the CW's YouTube channel, it says Ricky Starks makes his debut in NXT.
See, so that even hammers it home more. So I really tend to think that, because the WWE one I saw initially that next morning, and it was like, this star makes their debut, They didn't even use a name. So that was the point I was going to make. So that's awesome that the CW named him. So that really backs up to what Fightful and PW Insider are saying.
I would think it was funny as well because
a scheduled independent appearance as this Saturday's obviously Vengeance Day. So
and he had to book out. But he just became the Defy. And I'm not going to say this like I know anything about Defy. He just became the Defy champion, beating Kenta for that belt. So he is technically walking around with another belt right now in WWE, which that in and of itself would have been like
a deal breaker.
No, it would have been unheard of. The only other one I can think of wasn't not Gallows, the other one. Carl Anderson. Wasn't he Anderson. Like the
he
never something sometimes always champion or whatever?
The never strong openweight title there.
Okay. But it's just like are they gonna send a WWE TV crew to the next Defy show and say, hey, look, our latest signing, Ricky Starks, defending his other title, good for him. Like,
yeah, because there's been a few signings where people were champions of other things and they've been held off or made to either vacate or clear before being able to compete. So for him having that title,
the thing, right?
Shows a change in booking for sure.
Because they have the WWE ID program, right? Yes. And it's for indie wrestlers in other companies, and we're going to follow you. We're going to give you some media presence and whatever. We're going to give people a way to follow you on socials or on videos and clips and whatever. With that same mentality, would you not then send people with your already existing wrestlers when they go do something else? Like when Briggs, that we're going to talk about later on, when he was over in Noah for a while and he first teamed up with Inamura, like, do a 10-second clip on, like, hey, our guy Briggs, we're really proud of him. He's making us look great over here in Noah. When they let Nakamura have the Muda match, when they sent AJ Styles over there for a little bit, we've talked at length about the WWE and TNA stars that have done stuff at Bloodsport and whatever. Would it behoove them to show a little bit more of that, like, hey, we know our guys are awesome, and look at all this other awesome shit that they're also doing? Like, throw it in there like you would any other recap of, hey, this is what happened last week on Raw.
That would be, like this week on the Indies and people that are doing
they're doing it for the people that people haven't heard of yet, which is awesome. That should be the number one priority. But apply that same outside hype to the people that you already have on your books that are out there making you look great.
Here's a shock ask for you on the pod. I didn't know if we were going to cover the first Evolve episode. I think we should, though, because WWE Evolve... It's going to be on Tubi, March 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern, and they just announced WWE is going to have a new championship, too, in the company.
Well, it's going to be the NXT Evolve Championship.
It is. They're going to have the Evolve Championship. So WWE has plans to introduce a new championship ahead of the launch of the new in-ring show. So this show is basically going to take the place of NXT Level Up, since that was scrapped at the beginning of the year.
I think it's going to take the place of NXT, and NXT is going to be finally seen as more of like the middle of the ground show.
Well, yes, but I'm saying like in
programming-wise.
Programming-wise, it's going to take the place of... But yes, no, I totally understand what you're saying, because NXT is, as you saw, we got Vengeance Day coming up.
Because there's no level up. There wasn't any level up championship.
No. So PW Insider also reports that the Evolve Championship has already been made. It's going to be introduced over the course of the tapings, which will be shown March 5th.
Okay, so they're not just crowning a champion on the first night. That would be rough.
They're going to unveil it, and then they said the next generation of professional wrestling will unfold through a brand new series of Evolve on Tubi.
I'm not going to lie, I never watched Evolve properly when it was a show, other than the one show that they put on the WWE network, because it had Shotzi on it, and I'm really biased towards Shotzi. I like the WWE Evolve logo. It's a little bit more fun, a little less serious, and WWE could use a little bit of that.